My name is Eric Desatnik. I graduated from Beechwood High School in 1997. I live in Los Angeles and I work in public relations. So this question, I'm gonna have an unusual answer to this question. I don't necessarily believe in labeling things as greatest accomplishments. I tend to view life as more of a journey where sort of just like getting through a day is an accomplishment, and sort of all the steps toward an eventual goal are as meaningful as the outcome itself. And so when I think about, graduating from Yale or whatever the case may be, like that moment in time is relatively insignificant. I think about the 1,000 days that lead up to that day, right? The struggle, the commitment, the obstacles, the failures, the successes, like everything along the way toward that goal. And I think all that stuff is as important as the goal itself. So I'm more of a journey guy than singling out like accomplishments. And I'm also very humble. I don't like talking about things like that. But anyways, that's my philosophy on the subject. Sure, so one thing that I was thinking about, and I passed a sort of case on the wall that had this in it, was I participated in the Model UN. I don't know if you still do that or that's just a relic that's on the wall in the hallway. But yeah, I participated in the Model United Nations, and I don't know if it still happens now, but back in the day, there were field trips. The students would go and sort of debate against other schools, even out of state. I remember my team went to Kalamazoo, Michigan for one of those debates or sessions. And I was not a student that played sports in high school, so I didn't have many opportunities to like be on the road and sort of interact with students from other schools, nor students sort of in other cities or other states. But I think that's really important to do. And so for me, that was just a very eye-opening experience where I got to socialize with and interact with and sort of have intellectual conversations with sort of my peers, but from other schools and other cities. I think sports clearly allows people to do that in a way, but I definitely recommend students who aren't sort of on the road with their sports team to sort of find opportunities to meet other people of the same age who you may not interact with every day. One thing that I feel like I got wrong, especially in my junior and senior year leading up to or including applying to colleges and deciding where I'm going and all that stuff, is I was under the impression that just the more you did, the more activities and clubs and things that you were involved with, the better, right? So if you had a long list of 12 things that you participated in, you'd be a star applicant to whatever school. And maybe that's the case, maybe it wasn't the case. But as I think about that now, I realize that like I would have much preferred to kind of pick a couple of things and like go deeper on them. And it's fine if the first step to that might have been try 12 things, but I would have liked to sort of have 10 of those fall off and stick with 2 things, but like do them really well or learn as much as I can about those things. I think I'm the kind of person that likes to go deep on things, and the whole like just building up my college application to include as many things as possible just like doesn't feel in line with sort of how I do things today. So if I were to go back, that'd be one thing I might approach differently. Travel. And even if you don't have the means to fly to Europe and have a whole backpacking adventure, like hop in a car and drive to a national park that's somewhat nearby and like have your own adventure in that way. I think another thing that I would add to that recommendation that might make some people uncomfortable is travel alone. I don't care if you're the kind of person that like normally hangs out with your 12 friends or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case may be. Like leave all that behind and like go somewhere by yourself. Again, whether it's a road trip, flying somewhere, exploring a new culture, doing something in your backyard, like do those things by yourself. And I'm not suggesting that you have to do everything in life by yourself, but I feel like doing that stuff by yourself when you're young kind of builds that confidence and self-reliance and just allows you to even have stronger relationships in the future because you sort of like know yourself better. So I've had the great fortune to be able to travel a lot ever since I was young. But as an adult, when it's me that makes those decisions, I've still sort of kept that up. And I've gone places that might have seemed daunting or scary or just very foreign to me. And I still sort of went by myself and just did it. And you just have such a sense of satisfaction knowing that like you navigated this new place, you did this, you don't need that person next to you, you don't need this, that, or other, like you can do this. And I think that builds confidence for other things that you might do in the future. I'm obsessed with road tripping. Not necessarily, I mean, sure, it's fun and it's beautiful and there's great places to see in the United States in a car. I'm not dismissing that. And so go do that. But once you're done doing that and you have the means or the time or whatever the case may be to like do that elsewhere, do that in New Zealand, take 2 weeks, rent a car, go by yourself and just drive around New Zealand. Every day will be a new scenery. Every day will be a new adventure, from mountains and glaciers to beautiful white sand beaches to forests to the Hobbit from Lord of the Rings. Like just every environment that you can think of is all in one compact place that's very easy to navigate. It's very safe, it's clean. New Zealand road trip. You know, I'm very inspired by all of the 9 other inductees this morning, as well as ones who have been inducted in the past. And I think they all had a tremendous, they all have tremendous credentials and background and sort of an inspiring story, and they gave a great presentation today. If I were to be super critical and think about like what sort of storylines might have been missing from the presentations today, I don't think there were a lot of people talking about like you being you and you being like your authentic self. Lots of people are talking about like, successes in business and whatever else, and that certainly didn't represent everybody, but I don't feel like someone stood up there and kind of stood up for the stance that you should be confident and comfortable being you. Whatever your background, sexuality, identity, any of that stuff, like I would have liked to hear more of that, and hopefully in the future there'll be new inductees that sort of represent that. I feel like after hearing all 10 speeches, I could have done more or said more about that topic. And I'm not a cheesy person. I don't feel like I'm even in a position to give advice. But I would like young people in general more often to hear that like you being you is incredible, and don't let anyone sort of take that away from you.